has been the volley bear. We've seen touches of things like the Xinjiao, like the Rumble, and a bit of the Viego and Dana once played each, but it hasn't been as much about Lian being the carry and more about Lian setting up his lanes to be the individual strengths. Like, he does gank a little bit, but certainly he's much more about trying to control and make sure that the jungler isn't interacting with his lanes.
As you can see, Rare Adam all lined up on to the stage, getting ready for this game. They want to make sure that they can contend for that first place spot. They are so close to it, and Rare Adam have been this team that I feel like I've been getting away with murder because they are so close to dropping so many of these series. It seems like at some point some team has to be able to stop them. Maybe an intelligent team like JDG can pick them apart.
Well, if you're JDG, you have to be able to contest Rare Adam in the lane. If you look at the stats coming through from Rare Adam, like iBoy, Fofo, Lian, all have the highest CS difference at 15 for their roles. And then you look at iBoy, who's got the second highest gold difference at 15 for any AD carry in the league. Like, you have to be able to make sure you're fighting each of these guys in the lane and stepping them behind. Otherwise, you do run the risk of the slow and steady Rare Adam coming out and then being able to fight you later on when they have those aspects of scaling their composition come online.
I feel like iBoy is an excellent person to kind of touch on before we dive into this game, because he is someone I think that's been under the radar of a lot of people focusing on Rare Adam. Everyone always talks about Fofo because he has been this highlight player, but iBoy has been playing one of his best splits that we've seen of him. You can think back to iBoy getting caught out of position, being someone who's been punished consistently. This has been one of those splits. We haven't seen that nearly as often as he had in the past.
Yeah, and I think that's why we've seen kind of the updraft coming through from Rare Adam's team fighting, right? The biggest problem, and I think a lot of people's problem with Rare Adam last split, why we were so down in the dirt for them, was every fight you went into, it was just chaos. There didn't seem to be any sort of communication. There was no frontline setup. It was just kind of a free-for-all and hope that we come out on top. And sometimes it would. You could just rely on the individual mechanics coming out from guys like Fofo or iBoy when he could step up, but it never looked clean. This time around, we're seeing them much more focused on that cleaner aspect of their team fighting, and they do look far more consistent, where we have Cube providing these front lines that are making things a hell of a lot easier, a proper setup and coordination when they actually go in for these engagements.
Setting up into the draft, it will be interesting to see who is going to be prioritized for both these teams. If we're going to see the reliance on what these metas have been, the Xin Shaos, the Akali's, both taken away by JDG, set denied.
super strong bot lane that you're going to be struggling with as Loken and Lumao. But still, Rare Adam, they're going to go for the Rumble for Leanne. So we do know that at least for the minute, the Viego is going to be going towards one of the solo laners. I imagine it is Fofo in that mid lane.
Same.
And now you've got iBoy on one of the strongest AD carries on the current patch.
And Varus, we've seen how devastating he can be towards teams if they're not careful, especially if they're on the squishier side that we're already seeing from JDG. iBoy, his positioning has been far better than we normally would see on something so immobile as a Varus. So Loken, wanting to be able to contend a bit more with that output, drafts this Jhin.
Yeah, and this is the counter pick that we've seen coming through from Loken consistently into Varus. You got the Deadly Flourish to actually outrange the Varus. You've also got the Dancing Grenade to actually push the wave just as much as Varus does, and you just outrange him with the Curtain Call as well. So this has kind of been the go-to for JDG, and it means again you're going to be looking towards Kanavi being that big damage dealer over Loken to try and facilitate this. But it does mean we need something aggressive for Yagao here in the mid lane, because otherwise you run the issue of, well, we just don't have enough damage to try and carry these fights. Could potentially see something like the Lucian come out for them if they want to go towards that. Or, I mean, if you're looking towards these Ryze and LeBlanc bans, maybe they are thinking of Sylas here for Yagao.
And it could work a lot better than we saw in the last series. Forge struggled into Ryze, but no longer having to worry about. Not really anything that you have to deal with that's going to punish you to the same level as that. So I'm curious to see if it's going to be that saving the support pick to be able to round out the composition, since Thresh is going to be the final ban that JDG opt for.
And I think this makes a hell of a lot of sense, right? You're going to be looking to see if Lumao can go towards something with a bit more engaged, something like the Leona to follow up, well, sorry to ban away, but follow up on the engage that's going to be coming through in that bottom side of the map. So Nautilus, these kind of things start to rise up in priority. So getting rid of the Thresh and anything that make it a bit safer, that make it easier. Sylas is banned away though. We kind of just talked about how that could be a potential pick here for Yagao. But here is that Nautilus we just mentioned, that support role. Get that engage tool that you can follow up so easily in that bottom lane and set up potential plays for Kanavi as he looks around that bottom side.
As well as making it so it's going to be a far easier time to be able to deal with iBoy on this Varus. You need to make sure you're going to be able to put the fight back into his face. Try to see if you can catch him out of position as many times as possible, because one of the things about a Jhin Nautilus lane is if they're able to get the level 2 spike over iBoy, they actually might have the potential to force back this Varus and make it so he's going to be a non-factor for a while.
I would have much preferred the Alistar in this situation. Rakan kind of gives you another target now for that depth charge in that bottom lane, and although Rakan obviously very slippery, depth charge, deadly flourish, auto attacks, it makes it super difficult as Magical, he could be getting it. No, last minute. Honestly, I think the Volibear is the better shout. The Volibear does really well into the laning phase against the Renekton. You go for that early Bramble Vest. It's not an easy matchup for Zoom to contend with, and it means that you get a little bit more pressure towards that top side. JDG though, we already said Yagao, Sylas, Lucian were the two that we were kind of looking at. Sylas taken off the board. Looks like Yagao will go back towards this. Mix up your damage, make sure that you're not too heavily indexing towards that AP damage for your main carries, and it helps out quite a bit in the fact you can guarantee that mid priority here against something like the Viego, and makes it actually relatively hard for Viego to try and use that range advantage where he's able to actually punish some AP matchups, but certainly not something like the Lucian.
Personally, I love seeing these kind of compositions, the double marksman compositions out of teams, because now who do you target on JDG? Who is it that you feel that you can confidently jump onto? You go for Loken, Yagao's left wide open. You go for Yagao, Loken's going to be able to get that damage for that AP, the AD threat, and then Kanavi onto this Diana is going to be completely uncontested in the HP department.
Yeah, I think a huge amount of this game kind of relies on Rare Adam finding these nice flanks to actually set themselves up, right? Because you have a lot of long-range ultimates that can cause you trouble with the Culling, the Curtain Call, and although you do have a Varus, a lot of these just outrange you and deal more damage at the offset. So certainly for Rare Adam, they want to make sure that they are trying to close this gap and utilizing the Chains of Corruption, try and lock people in place and set up for champions like Viego. Try and have this burst damage so you start getting these resets off. But it will be tough, as you said. Like, it's difficult to get on towards the likes of a Jhin when he's playing so far back. Same with a Lucian, very slippery, difficult to lock down. So Rare Adam will have their work cut out here against JDG when it comes towards these team fights.
And honestly, for the side of Rare Adam, I'm just wondering how they're going to be able to deal with these threats on JDG, because every member besides Jhin is going to be trying to see if they can either flank or dive into this backline, try to see if they can catch out iBoy immediately, take him out of the fight, and then they can turn their attention onto anybody that Rare Adam might throw into this fight to be able to fight back.
I think the good news here for Rare Adam, though, is like, if Kanavi's trying to jump into your backline, right, your team is actually pretty tanky. Apart from your bottom side of the map, like, you're not going to burst out Fofo when he's got a Divine Sunder and a Snarex Gauge. You're not going to burst out Rumble as well, who probably have a Zhonya's, gets that shield, look at the top side too. So I think if you're going to looking for targets for Kanavi, it's going to be hard for him to consistently find access towards iBoy, or at least if he can, that seems to be kind of the death knell for Ore in this game.
As right now we load up onto the Rift, our second series of the day to kick off Week 5. Neither team really going too aggressively. We might see a late invade from JDG just purely to put down that ward, because it's completely spotted out by a nice defensive ward that RA had already placed.
Yeah, and this is just for Kanavi's sake. Kanavi definitely not going to be stronger in the 1v1 against Lian, so they're trying to say, hey, look, Lian, where are you starting? What's the game plan here? Because if we end up both going for this topside scuttle, and especially with Cube having pressure in that top lane, Kanavi's just going to miss out. So Kanavi will have to start mixing up his pathing as he realizes, okay, Lian started bot side, I need to actually get back on towards this bottom half of the map so I can pressure with Yagao and Loken to get my own scuttle.
But with both junglers starting on the bottom half of the map, I want to see the plays that can come in from Lian, from Kanavi, on where they really want to make that first impact. It's kind of that skill matchup that we've seen between Rumble, between Diana, on how they want to be able to play these early skirmishes. And since they will both end up on the same portion of the map, we can potentially see a little bit of a fight over the Scuttle Crab, and it'll be about top lane having the ability to bring back Cube, and then mid lane, Yagao being the first one to answer.
Yeah, I think for Kanavi, he definitely wants to try and play this slow, right? If you look at both solo lanes, he kind of just loses the 2v2 there. Cube going to be able to set up way better for Lian. Same when you look towards Fofo in that mid lane. So at the moment, I think Kanavi's just going to be trying to powerhouse his way towards level 6. Whereas for Lian, you can have the Cube set you up with a stun. Fofo has his own CC as well, and potentially look for some sort of activity in towards these solo laners.
But right now, actually, look at this. The ping coming in from Kanavi. He's not wanting to just leave this as an uncontested fight, despite the fact that he was spotted out, despite the fact that it seems like they could be punished. This mid lane, Fofo getting shoved so heavily underneath this turret means that Yagao can always show up first.
Lumao's on his way as well. Like, this is JDG playing very heavily towards these early scuttles, and with that, you know, Lumao showing, they think, okay, cool, we can actually go towards this. Now you got Loken moving up as well. 4 members of JDG trying to put pressure on towards this bottom scuttle. You don't have iBoy here just yet.
Not just yet, but they are going to be able to drag him over, and all members are still here. Even though the smite was already used, they have the dredge line getting the flash out of Lian. Even a TP in behind Fofo has to flash to be able to survive. They're going to be able to get the knock up on the Lumao, who flashed on top of iBoy. A lot of damage. First blood picked up with the piercing arrow. Yagao trying to be able to get away. Zoom, you're too late to the party. Even though the Scuttle Crab, it looked like it could have been taken away, it will be RA securing the objective.
Greedy play from JDG. You'd already secured one of the Rift Scuttlers. You should have just been happy with that and backed away. But because Lumao had spent so much time roaming to try and secure that scuttle on top side, he was a level down for that fight. So when you get to the grand scheme of things, especially at this level, the health, the stats that you pick up from those levels are so damn important. And Lumao is the first to fall and the only one to fall as Rare Adam pick up that scuttle.
Ah, man, it's just one of those plays you look at for JDG, and like you said, you can't play that greedily unless you really are that confident. But how can you be confident that you're going to have the damage to back up this when Yagao has a call?
And it took so long for them to actually start up this play, right? It gave the opportunity for iBoy and Hung to actually have the roam here. Loken is zoned away, and Lumao's in the middle of this, but as we said, level 2 to the level 3, level 4 of everyone else in this fight. Zoom has the late TP in as well. Like, you burn everything on both sides, but it's Rare Adam who are just in a far better position to actually follow up on that play.
Not just that there, Dagta. The fact that he TP'd to the minions in mid lane instead of to the Pixel Brush, where they had a ward set up to be right with the team. It took him so long then to be able to join with the rest of them that it was an easy collapse from RA, and they got a kill onto iBoy all through it.
And that's one of the big areas right here for Rare Adam, because we already said, you know, top, mid, they're Rare Adam favored. Bot lane should be JDG favored, but because that kill goes over, you get that early tier coming through from iBoy. He's starting to ramp up. It's not going to be as easy to just punish this bottom side of the map now, especially with the control that Leyan should have. Scuttle Crab about to spawn on this bottom side as well, so we're going to see Leyan down here and putting pressure on towards Loken Lumao, who won't be able to pressure the favorable matchup that they have.
No, even though they are trying to be able to push back, they're trying to be able to contain iBoy, he's got a level lead now over Loken. He's got a serrated Turk already over Loken, with the Tear of the Goddess over Loken. It is all looking so well for the side of Rare Adam on this bottom half of the map that now Kanavi wants to play down towards the bottom, where normally he tries to play towards the top half of the map.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of this. Fofo has hit 6. We already said, like, a 2v2 should go Rare Adam's favor, especially if Leyan overheats, but we're going to get this contestation as bot side.
Fight. Look at the damage onto Lumao, trying to be able to chase him down. The flash coming in to be able to pick up the kill. The call on the other side to get a lot of damage onto iBoy, trying to see if they can heal him back up. They just can't, but they got the kill onto Kanavi. 2 are now dead just for the little life of iBoy.
Yeah, and this was what we were saying, right? In the 2v2 scenario, Leyan and Fofo win. iBoy and Hung already draw so much attention that they get the kill on towards Lumao. Yes, they give one back, but that Scuttle still goes the way of Ore. And for JDG, these bot side Scuttles are not where they're winning out.
And Dagda, you get the kill on to iBoy. Sure, you can say it's a trade, but that's because Yagao shows up into the bot lane to make it so they can get that kill, which means he leaves Kanavi alone.
And again, it's Lumao not being the same level as everyone. He's still level 4. You've got that serrated Dirk already picked up for iBoy. He has a lot of damage that can take him down so quickly. And then you've got Fofo and Leyan who are just soloing out Kanavi. Because as you said, Yagao was trying to help out the bottom lane. It's messy, messy play. And this is something that we've seen from JDG a lot. They try to fight on too many fronts and they end up giving over these advantages. And once more, Scuttle Crab number 1. They try to get both, and they're fighting on too many fronts. Just take your win and leave. Instead, they give over a kill. Now again, they're trying to fight for this second Scuttle, where they just don't have stronger champions, and now they're giving over advantages once again.
They lose out on the ultimate prize itself. They don't even get the Scuttle Crab. They get more gold over to iBoy on this Vars, and now they're trying to see if they can get anything back. But what really do they have that they can take? They're trying to see if they can get on top of this Rift Herald, but you can already see that on the wings that Rare Adam are looking to see if they can possibly contest this.
I think they've cancelled it though. You can see Fofo starting to move back down towards that bottom lane. They're just going to look to trade it for the turret plates on that bottom half. Now, it looks actually with how far Fofo was away, I'm pretty sure he didn't get that gold off of the bottom turret. So that turret plate going to waste. But JDG will answer with that top plate, and now looks like they might want to try and use it for Zoom in his top lane.
At least to be able to help out this Renekton into the Ball of Air matchup, give him a little bit of that snowball potential, but it's so hard to be able to burst down that bear. You can see as he's galloping away. In fact, they don't even fully commit to try to take anything further because how healthy that turret is, and getting that much gold on the Zoom at this point might just not be enough.
Yeah, the Crescent Strike not able to connect as well meant that he wouldn't have to follow up with his dash, so decides to back away, and you called it, right? I mean, you can maybe go for that play, but probably going to get the flash. You don't know where members of Rare Adam are, and because you spotted Kanavi top, Rare Adam feel comfortable to go for Dragon. So we are getting a lot of this back and forth trading, but this is again a composition, or at least a game state that Rare Adam are reasonably happy with, right? They've got this late game standing coming in with the Viego. They're still waiting for these spikes to come through from Leyan, from Cube as well. So they're not really in a rush to try and take these fights. Whereas, actually, as I say this,
looking to be able to pick off the easy targets, because poor Loken, he shows up in the bot lane and he's already sent back to the base.
and I like that from Hung as well. He's just like, I'm going to pop the quickness and just run at you. You try to flash Loken, I'm following with your flash as well. And you can see there, Loken, even though he had the cleanse and flash, was like, I'm dead. Like, if you're not going to use this grand entrance, I have no way of getting away from this. And it means that now you get the play on bot side. Fofo is being accelerated so much. He's nearly at 4,000 gold. He's the most gold in the game and is only looking to push that further. Although, as I say that, JDG now trying to answer for their own side lane pressure.
Should be the first tower picked up by JDG, despite the fact that Fofo has been able to have a lot of alone time, special time with the tier 1 bot lane turret. But it is still only trying to be able to compete with Fofo in this gold category, who still, in fact, has the gold lead as the most gold earner in this game.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing a bit of a different path coming through from Fofo as well, because he's going towards the Immortal Shield Bow. Usually we see the Divine Sunder in that Sterix, but definitely when you're not looking at as many beefy champions in this game. I mean, yes, you got Renekton, but the Divine Sunder not going to be getting as much use out of the health stacking, the mechanic that is on it, the percentage health damage. So instead, he's going to be looking to try and survive, giving himself more survivability against the burst that can come through from Kanavi, Yagao, hell, even Zoom as well, and trying to see if he can power through that instead of just having these this just health stacking Divine Sunder with the 14% true down, or max health damage.
Yeah, plus being able to survive long enough through some of the burst that comes in from JDG. It's all a nice little touch for Fofo. Like you said, not having to worry about the percentage health, can survive just a little bit more of the burst thrown back on him by Kanavi, by Yagao, means that he'll have longer fights that will work out better for him if he does end up going for that, which is still kind of up in the air. He's still working towards those items at the moment. But I kind of want to flip and talk about some of these other lanes right now. And I actually want to even talk about something that me and Crumbs like to talk about when we're on the LCS Academy. It's the pairing of Rumble with hard CCs, such as Hong on this Rakan. We already saw some of the elements of the quickness with Equalizer and how brutal that can be for JDG.
Yeah, it just sets up for a very nice pairing, and I mean, there's so much CC across the board,
Nice flash by iBoy. The depth charge will be on top of him, but look at the damage onto Lumao. He's just burned alive, roasted. Zoom in the middle of so many members trying to be able to get away. They've got at least the Stormbringer, the damage. It does chip out at some of the members of JDG, but the only casualty seems to be Lumao.
These team fights are going Rare Adam's favor every single time, and the main person that's falling is Lumao. 0-3 now on this Nautilus. These early roams have not gone his way, and he's being punished more and more as this game goes on. Now Rare Adam will return to split push duty. Fofo on this bottom side, only one turret plate remains, and Fofo has his eyes on it.
Man, if we get to see a replay of that, just keep your eyes on iBoy and how well his reaction time is to this. It's clear that Lumao knew that he's the target, but boom, perfect.
Yeah, just about flashes over the wall. And then, as you were talking about it, you know, Equalizer in towards that CC combo. Lian definitely could have used that Equalizer at a bit of a better angle, but we do get to see how much damage can churn out from that. And again, oh no, Yagao.
Yeah, he does have Gale Force, so that's a lot more burst than I think Fofo might be able to fight against. But look at Lumao. Look at everyone showing up, trying to see if they can help him. Lumao wants to be able to help the the mid lane ADC. He'll be enough to escort him away.
The flash out from Yagao leaves himself a hell of a lot more vulnerable. And actually, we got to correct ourselves on Fofo's build. It looks like he's actually just picking up the Vamp Scepter for the early. Going to still go with that Divine Sunder route, and then we'll probably use that Vamp Scepter in towards the Blade of the Rune King. But he will still have a hell of a lot of attack speed, a lot of damage, and the movement speed slow that comes from Blade of the Rune King is going to be really nice, especially for a lot of the ranged champions like Loken and Yagao.
I feel like that even helps facilitate him in a side lane, because that's what Fofo, he's changed his identity. Instead of playing around again and trying to see how those two work together, he is off in a different land, trying to see what kingdom, where the Ruined King can actually take control of.
Still though, JDG 4 seconds on towards this dragon. They have full control here. It looks like Rare Adam, they're kind of okay to just gift this. They're like, we're under no pressure. If JDG are actually the ones that are sitting in this pit, it becomes a lot easier for iBoy to poke. We can get these big equalizers off. Lian's still waiting on that ultimate cooldown.
I think that Rare Adam, they just want to fight. That's really what it is, especially into this choke, and they got all that damage on top of Kanavi. Lumao, he might die once more once he's out of golden. They were able to turn it around onto 1, but it's just the support for support with Fofo all the way in the back line, picking up 2 kills and continuing to chase down JDG. He's forcing them to recall inside of their own base.
And again, this is what we see from Rare Adam every single time. They're just like, cool, we play this slow, calculated first 10 minutes. We're about just trying to beat you in lane, making sure we're in good shape. And when we crest that mark, that's where we become active. Now, Fofo already weakened up this bot lane turret. iBoy will be able to take that. Fofo is turning his attention towards that mid lane structure as Rift Count is being taken as well. Rare Adam, in one swoop, get the fight, they get gold, and they get everything else on the map.
All at the cost of a simple dragon. This works perfectly. The choke for the equalizer. You couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, it was waiting picture perfect until they had actually had that up. It was still counting down as that dragon was being taken. So afterwards, that's where we get the big engage coming through from Ore. The second that equalizer's up, slows them down. Fofo absolutely going nuts in the back line. Flashes forward to finish off Yagao on the Lucian. And you can see he's feeling it. He wanted more. He was not going to stop just with those 2 kills.
Not at all. He is ready to rumble here. He wants to make sure that they can take a quicker game than we're used to from RA, a team that normally likes to play for the mid and play for the late. Here, they have a fantastic lead, only 16.5 minutes in.
Yeah, and this is just an absolute whitewash. And this is kind of the problems that we've seen with JDG, right? Is that, look, they're trying to bite off too much more than they can chew. We saw it countless times throughout this. It's given this nice lead towards Ore. And again, like, you've got 3 kills going towards Fofo, 3 kills for Lian. They are going to be so damn strong in this game that if you even try to contest here someone like Kanavi, you're going to just feel the full brunt of the damage that can come through from these 2 champions.
And for the side of JDG, they're keeping at least some of the gold relatively even, but their team is about flanking, about being able to pick apart RA, and I don't see a way they can do that, not at least easily, not at least unless RA themselves overcommit and get themselves caught out.
And here's the thing, right? Ore are in a perfect position now to start pushing in, like, using the fact Fofo's so far ahead to pressure these side lanes. He still has his TP, he's going to be totally fine there, and you will need to send 2 members to try and deal with them. Renekton is definitely not strong enough to just 1v1 Fofo right now. Yagao as well will be under constant threat of a dive, so you need to then invest time from Lumao, from everyone else, and if Rare Adam are grouped up as this 4-man strong unit on the rest of the map, well, that becomes incredibly difficult to try and break, especially because iBoy, when ahead like this, can start to siege up turrets, poke away at people. At least for JDG, you have Loken and Yagao who can try and help clear out these waves, but it's not going to be an easy feat with how far ahead Rare Adam are.
And not at least when you have this push, though. The damage onto iBoy, sniped by the side of JDG, got locked down by the deadly push. This should allow them to be able to at least open up something of RA. They had to be careful because the equalizer forced them off of the turret. That is a big pick for the side of JDG.
You had to say it at the start of the day, Magical. You were like, hey, you know, iBoy, he hasn't been as inty. He just hasn't had it.
Caster curse. I'm sorry, iBoy. I apologize.
You doomed him straight off the bat, but again, nice job from Loken there to actually make the pick, right? I'm assuming it was a dancing grenade into that deadly flourish. It seemed like iBoy was pretty far back when that hit, but it does cost them there, and it shuts down a bit of the pressure that Rare Adam had. Now, should be able to get this charge still off. JDG not going to be able to force that. Oh, they just get it. Holy moly, that 4th shot doing work, but there you go. That's so good. Now, Rare Adam, they lose that. You've just got the pick onto iBoy. You're slowing down the advantage that Ore were starting to accumulate in tempo, and we'll have to see here. I mean, maybe it's just the Gale Force forward, is it? No, just the combo between Culling and then just the deadly flourish. So iBoy shot straight off the back as he tries to flash away. Doesn't have any chance to escape.
No.
And now for JDG, right? You get these faster resets in. You're starting to look towards this next dragon. You're coming out back onto the map at a good time. But unfortunately for them, waves not exactly in their favor, right? We talked about how you'd have to kind of babysit Yagao in a side lane as Kanavi because of how strong Fofo is. Well, look where Kanavi is. He's up there with Yagao because you've got as you've got 10 seconds left until this dragon is up. JDG are just going to have to gift this across.
They don't want to really put up the fight just yet. They're trying to see if they can continue to get more of this gold into their carries, make it so they're going to be a lot scarier in these upcoming fights. They realize that they have that ability to burst down someone like iBoy. We saw there the calling into Deadly Flourish, into Curtain Call. With no one nearby, iBoy, it's a nice bit of burst damage that they can easily unleash, but they have to be so careful when it comes to a lot of these plays. Otherwise, they themselves are also just as vulnerable to being picked apart.
Exactly, and that's why when we're talking about like the way that I want to see this played out, it's as a 1-4 with Fofo providing that sideline pressure. Because if you end up in a situation where, you know, you don't have wave control like you do right now. Oh, actually, TP here from Fofo.
Ooh, Fofo. Not spotted out. He is going to be able to help out with Lumao taking the brunt of the damage to flash back towards the team. They're continuing. Here's the quickness. Here's the equalizer. It's going to be a double man knockup with the Stormbringer to burst down Lumao Yagao as well. Even though they had a nice dive into the back line, it was not enough from Kanavi. Curtain Call only going to tickle the tanks of RA.
Successful conga line to avoid any of the damage from the Curtain Call, and now RA with that pick, they just turn over towards the Baron. They've absolutely destroyed JDG in that engagement, and now they'll get the big purple worm as a reward. JDG still looking to contest though.
Trying to see if maybe, just maybe, they could find a snipe, but I think this is the wise call. They back out of that, knowing that that was a suicide mission at best. They had no chance to be able to sail this away, but we got to take a look at this replay. And it's Fofo he's such a big threat.
Definitely, but also curious as to why Lumao is trying to get the overextension in towards River there. Great response here from Roar 8 to realize, hey look, Lumao is pushed too far forward. You get that big engagement from Hung, followed up by the Stormbringer. And from that point forward, it's lights out here. There's nothing you can do as JDG, and this is what I was talking about when I was mentioning, hey look, you know, having that 1-4 there, it's kind of a twofold here for Ore. One, it stops JDG from being able to make picks onto you because you've still got Cube who's there. Fofo wants to be coming in on these flanks, so certainly having the opportunity with that TP sets him up nicely. But as well, you can go for these plays, right? Hung and Cube can follow incredibly well.
Bye. All right, go continue.
I mean, I was just going to say, I mean, Hung can make these picks, Cube can follow up insanely well, and we kind of got to see it there. iBoy used the Chains of Corruption instead. It's not going to be Cube we look at. And now again, JDG, every single time I cast these guys, are getting caught out, picked apart in weird places, and now they're going to feel the brunt of this Baron push coming through from Rare Addict.
Should be relatively easy for them to start chipping down and taking down these structures. You can see Fofo, they've set up that 1-4 that you had asked for, keeping him in a side lane, while the rest of JDG are not able to do anything to stop the siege. You can see the damage that happens from such a long range from the likes of iBoy and Lumao. Lumao.
Yeah. It's all good. We've all been there. But look, honestly, this is why Rare Adam have started to look way more consistent in my eyes, right? This hasn't been a, oh, well, you know, it's been a bit messy, it's been a bit all over the place, but Rare Adam somehow coming out on top.
Yagao took one piercing arrow there, and now they're trying to still fight, but these piercing arrows, no, JDG, back off.
I mean, where did they back off to? They're in their base, their backs are against the wall, and Fofo, he's pushing in on bot side. You've got Rare Adam who are shoving mid. Like, you've got nowhere to go as JDG. This is their home, and they're being kicked out.
It looks like they're about to get evicted because the damage that is unleashed on top of inside of their base. Even Zoom is taking so much. Kanavi, that's a huge moonfall, but he still bursts down. The snipe comes in. They're going to be able to get 2 kills coming in from Yagao. He's trying to see if he can dive into the backline onto Lian. They got the snipe coming in with the Curtain Call. Only Fofo now remains. Somehow, JDG find an ace inside the base.
Shut down.
The hero play coming through from Kanavi to get that moonfall sets up for Yagao, who is pretty strong at this stage to try and carry out the rest of the fight. Rare Adam biting off a little bit more than they can chew there as they try to go and wipe JDG out.
Hey, we take a look at this replay, and for the side of RA, just continue what's working, poke them out, but they try to force so heavily, and like you said, we have to keep our eyes on Kanavi.
Yeah, you try and go with the equalizer to get on towards Loken, which doesn't really get there. And then Kanavi here, it's, you know, taking everyone with him as he goes down. So much damage coming out from that moonfall. Cube taking insanely low. Lian goes golden, but isn't actually getting damage off in this fight. And Fofo tries his damnedest here, but because he's stolen away the support, you don't actually deal a huge amount of damage in that area. You need to just kind of get that CC and then set up, but not able to do so. And now, Rare Adam is still cracked up in the base, so they can still push on. It's not like it's massively changed the outcome of this game, but still a nice little, at least, time to turtle and save here as JDG.
Exactly. They held on to the inhibitor itself. It was able to remain standing, which means that they don't have to worry about the supers pouring into their base, but they still have a long way to go before they can wrestle control away from RA. You can see they have no control of the river, no control of the dragon, no control of even the Baron, despite the fact that they might have gotten a Scuttle Crab, but it's gonna despawn before that Purple Worm makes his resurgence onto the Rift.
Yeah, and that's the big one that we're looking out for next, right? And especially when you look towards Rare Adam, they have the opportunity to threaten the Baron at all points in time. Fofo can actually play on towards this bot side and continuously just put the pinch on towards JDG as to exactly how they want to play this out. Now, you can see, though, from JDG's side of things, like, you're not completely out just yet. If you can get these big ultimates, it's why Diana's such a popular champion. She can turn the tide of a game, especially when you've got, like, Yagao, as we said. He's got 3 items now, the Infinity Edge completed. He is insanely strong if he's able to have this sort of setup in a fight. So keep your eyes on that mid-jungle of JDG and Yagao, see if they can have the impact and change the tide of this game.
Hey, even Loken is in a great spot right now with his 3 items. That they have the double threat to be able to try to see if they can start chipping at these members of RA with a safe distance that Loken's able to provide for himself, but it is going to be risky. It's going to be tricky for them to start setting up to start pushing back against RA.
And the big thing as well is trying to avoid the counterpunch from RA, right? Equalizer in towards Hong as well is going to cause a ruckus, which we might just see.
Yeah, we might see. Chain of Corruption is able to land. Kanavi has to go golden the moment he's spawned up and now trying to dash away. They don't even have Yagao here. Kanavi takes so much damage at the initial onslaught of that Equalizer. He has to completely fall back, meaning they relinquish any sort of fight they might have around Baron for now.
I mean, Rare Adam invested quite a bit there, right? Equalizer and that Chains of Corruption, so they're kind of in the same boat where they don't really want to try and pressure on towards this Baron when you know, hang on, JDG have everything up in just a few seconds. Colleen, that depth charge going to come off as well. So now, because of that failed attempt, JDG get control of mid, they'll be able to get priority top and clear out some of that vision that Rare Adam did such a good job of getting.
Good point, good point. And you can see that they were able to get, even if it's only a little bit of damage, onto the tier 1, pushing back the wards, trying to see if they can retain some sort of a fight around that Baron, around these objectives, so they're not just giving up completely and having to worry about getting shoved back into their base and forced to fight just to be able to survive.
Yeah, the biggest problem for JDG is going to be that dragon in 2.5 minutes, though. That's going to be the we have to do or die here. And honestly, it's going to be hard for them to just try and face up straight off, right? You do have 3 items for both of the carries, but if Fofo's threatening the back line, Leanne is able to get a good equalizer, it becomes really hard for Yagao to play these fights and Loken to do more than just the curtain call. So you needed more to be coming through from Kanavi, but he's sitting at 0-5. He's only just completed Zanya's Hourglass. He's not really in a position to be the big carry.
Getting the flashes, and here's the quickness. Double knock of Kanavi, trying to see if he can at least delay the inevitable. He finally falls, but Loken is on the other side. Here's Fofo trying to dive on top of him with the Heartbreaker to take him out. And Yagao, he's diving back in. Again, trying to be able to get away. They're going to be able to get the kill, but Fofo returns the favor, looking for Zoom as well. High Boy as well. They have so much potential to be able to take down Zoom, take down JDG.
And Rare Adam, they just completely destroy that fight. We just said, hey, look, you need to be able to keep Yagao safe. Kanavi's not in a position to make these fights work, and especially if he completely misses the Moonfall, well then Rare Adam are free to let Fofo loose.
And now they've got everyone here. They've got the minions as well. Even if Lian and Hong aren't going to be a part of this one, it's only Lu Mao who stands in the way of stopping this, trying to see if he can get the minions to follow him, waiting for Kanavi to be able to show up and try to put up a fight, but the Nexus turrets are gone. The damage is onto iBoy, but Fofo wants to be able to end the game. They've got the kill on a Cube. Fofo trying to be able to dodge away, and he will be able to do it to secure game 1 for RA.
Too tanky is Fofo, and it means he's able to finish off the Nexus, and a statement game from Rare Atom as well. Fofo once again coming out as the mainstay carry for Rare Atom and takes down JDG.
Fofo, he is just showing